In this video, we'll look at how to create single-page application with Remix. As of Remix 2.5, spa mode is now available, and by the end of this video, you will learn how to configure Tailwind CSS with Remix Spa, how to use Remix Flat Routes package to configure route folders and files, and how to use HTTP server to serve single-page application locally. Let's go ahead and install Remix Spa. We're going to use the following command, npx create remix, and we're going to be using spa template, and we're going to put it in remix vid spa folder, because in order to use spa, you need to use remix vid. Let's go ahead and cd into remix vid spa, and then we're going to install Tailwind CSS packages. We're going to be installing Tailwind CSS, Post CSS, and Auto Prefixer. All of them going to be dev dependencies. We're also going to install Headless UI React and Heroicons React. We're going to be using them in Tailwind pages. Finally, let's create Tailwind config file. So we will put npx tailwind css init and --ts for TypeScript. And we can now open our project in the VS Code. Go to code. In the VS Code, let's click on tailwind config.ts file, and we're going to put in the content the files that will be compiled by Tailwind CSS or the classes in those files. Let's go ahead and save Tailwind config. Now let's create config for Post CSS. In the root of our project, let's create a new file. We're going to call it post css.config.cjs, and we're going to put the following code in there. Let's go ahead and save it. Now let's create tailwind.css file in the app directory of the project. So tailwind.css, and we're gonna put the following. We're gonna get Tailwind base, Tailwind components, and Tailwind utilities. Let's go ahead and save them as well. And finally, in the root.tsx file, let's go ahead and import a Tailwind CSS, right? So we'll put import Tailwind.css. Now we're going to save it. We are all set with the Tailwind CSS. Now let's go ahead and create route files and folders. First, we're going to install Remix Flat Routes package as a dev dependency. Now let's put some code in a vidconfig.ts to be able to use this package. When you use vid with Remix, Remix configuration goes into vid plugins Remix function. Let's update Remix configuration with a few more properties. So we're going to put ignored route files, and then we'll also create a routes property that will be an async function, and it's going to return distracted outputs from flat routes. And of course, we need to remember to import flat routes from Remix Flat Routes. Now let's open terminal again. We are going to delete the app routes folder. So let's do rm-rf app routes. We are going to be using routes folder that we created in Remix folder routes video. To learn how we did it, so please check out that video. So let's go ahead and copy app routes folders from Remix practice project. Now in the routes folder, we have a lot more folders, and where we have a Tailwind CSS, the files or the pages that are using Tailwind CSS. Now let's go ahead and run npm run dev. Remix build is completed, so we can go to localhost 5173, and we can see our application right here. Let's check if the pages are working, and we do have about page. Contact page is working, so login, I guess, and log out are working too. So let's go ahead and click on get started. That's where our dashboard is. And now if we go to projects and we click onto view right here, we're gonna have an error. The reason we have this error is that Remix Spa has some caveats. When you're doing Remix Spa, you gotta keep in mind the following things. Spa mode only works when using vid and Remix vid plugin. You cannot use server APIs such as header, loader, and action. You can only export hydrated fallback from root.tsx in spa mode, and you also cannot call server loader, server action from your client loader and client action methods, since there is no running server. The reason we encountered the error is that a few of our pages use loader function, which is not allowed to use in the spa mode. So let's go ahead and fix it. The first place where we have a loader function is this dashboard catch-all routes. So instead of exporting loader and action functions, we need to export client loader and client action. So right here we have a loader. Let's call it client loader. And then the type will be a client loader function args. And right here, we cannot use remix node anymore because that's a spa. So let's go ahead and delete that. We're going to import the client loader function args from remix run react, and we're going to put this is going to be a type. And also we were exporting JSON function from remix run node, so we need to actually export it from remix run react. So let's put JSON. And finally, our use loader data will be a type of client loader instead of loader. Let's go ahead and save our changes. Now let's go to projects folder, and we have a dynamic route there. So let's click on ID route TSX. We also have loader function here, so we can remove remix run node. Then we need to call client loader function instead of loader function, and we're gonna have a client loader function args, right? And let's go ahead and import it and put it as a type. Let's go ahead and fix it right here. Now it looks much better. And also we need to import JSON from remix run react. Now let's scroll down, and instead of type of loader, we're going to have type of client loader. And let's go ahead and save our changes. Now let's head back to the browser, and we can see that our page is working now. So we can go again to team, projects, create and view any project, and everything is working. Nothing is broken. Next thing that we're going to do is to check if our environment variables work. So let's go ahead and close everything and create a .env file in the root of our project. And right here, we can put vit site name, and then we can go ahead and put my cool spa. Let's go ahead and save it. So environment variables in remix spa, they work the same way as you would expect them to work in vit. So let's go ahead and we can go to the routes, and we'll put index file, click on the route. Let's go ahead and scroll down to an h1 tag. And right here, we're going to put the import of our environment variable. Let's go ahead and save it. Now let's go back to the browser, and we're going to go to the index file here, and the environment variable my cool spa got picked up. So the environment variables work the same way they work in vit. Now let's go ahead and build a spa locally. We're going to open terminal. We're going to export vit site name as environment variable, and we're going to call it my cool local spa just to see if we have change. And then we're going to run npm run build. Our application is done building, and the spa, or the files that are going to be a static server single page application, are located in build folder /client. So we can serve those files using HTTP server. If you don't have it installed, you can simply install it by doing npm install -g HTTP server. All right, and it's going to install the HTTP server globally for you. Now you can run HTTP server -build /client and hit enter. And now HTTP server is serving it on localhost 8081. So let's go to the browser and type in that address, and we're going to put localhost 8081. As you can see, we got our application, and it says my cool local spa, so our environment variable got picked up. Let's go ahead and check if the pages are working, and they are. You can go to about, contact, or dashboard. All right. So the only problem here is when we go to contact, and if we're going to try to hard reload the page, we're going to have localhost can be found. And we have this because of the HTTP server. So if you want to serve your single page application like it would be normally served on a CDN, right, or on a server where index file is served for all the routes, we can do the following. We can actually install HTTP server SPA, right? And let's put a -G flag in here and let's hit enter so it's installed globally. You need to call HTTP server SPA a little bit different than HTTP server, so let's go ahead and cd into build client. And when we're going to be in the folder client, right, we're going to run the following command, HTTP server SPA. We put a dot, so we want to serve this directory. We're going to tell our fallback file will be index.html, and then we want to serve it on port 8081. Let's hit enter. Let's head back to the browser and check the page. Now, if we hard refresh it, right, on the contact page is there. And the same thing, right, if we go to our home page, we go to about, for example, and refresh it as well. It works well. Let's go to the dashboard. And now let's try refreshing it too. And everything is working now just fine. So if you would like to serve your SPA the way it's going to be served on a server, you can use HTTP server SPA instead of HTTP server. I hope you liked the video. If you would like to learn more how we configured folder routes, check out the Remix folder routes video right over here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.